Hello, Namaskar, welcome, Swagatam. You are with the Versatile Doctor. My name is Dr. Abhinav Atul, an author, a YouTuber, and a TLB member. Last time we started a deep dive into book covers. Today we shall talk about the design of your book cover. Just so you know, this is not the end of the discussion. The discussion of book covers, which started with episode 7, will continue till episode 9, which means the next episode. Now, first of all, let me show you what I mean by Amazon KDP cover calculator template, which I mentioned in the last video. I really don't need to say anything in here because it is so clear, so self-explanatory. The size, the margins, the bleed area, the folds, everything. If you are going only for an ebook, like if you are going to publish only the Kindle version through KDP, then you need only to look at the front cover matter. There is no spine and no back cover, obviously. And for most part, even in paperbacks, the front cover is where we focus the most. However, the back cover can have some good elements too, especially if you have a flowing design which spans from the whole cover from front to back. Now, broadly, front cover can have two layers, the background design and the text and logos, etc. Now, the background could be of three main types. First, a drawing, illustration, or any digital art media. Second, a photograph or any edited photographed image. And third, just typography over a background. Now, the first variety of book covers is the most commonly used. Your book cover art may be a drawing, a painting, a digital art, or a composite graphic, or even AI. Now, before we move further, let me be very clear. Generative AI in itself is not a bad thing. It is a very useful tool even for generating images. It is not a replacement for design thinking. An AI generated book cover will get my seal of approval or any modicum of respect from me only when I can't tell that it is AI generated. Unfortunately, most of what I have seen so far is nowhere close. And I have known authors who have said that they chose AI for cover design because it was free and that they didn't have a budget to get a professional designer. Now, my opinion on AI covers is clear, but well, to each his own. Moving to the other form of art, the one where people labor for hours or even days to bring a design to life, either on the canvas or on the computer. The possibilities are endless and the final cover depends on the author's vision and the designer. Often the publisher and the editor may have a say in the matter. And now let me show you some examples. Too Good to Be True by Parajakta Kohli, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, Sita, the Warrior of Mithila by Amish Tripathi, The Temporary Roommate by Sarah Adams. Now, what you have to keep in mind from all these examples is that your book cover can be anything you want. There is no set design or pattern that you must follow. It is all an expression of what message you want to convey through the cover of your book. What hook does your book cover need to have to make sure any reader just glancing over the cover will be compelled to buy and read your book? Anyway, moving to the next category of cover designs, a photograph or any photorealistic image. Now take these examples. Finding Me by Viola Davis and Becoming by Michelle Obama. Both memoirs with cover depicting the author themselves. No explanations necessary, right? Similarly, for Ratan Tata, this book shows clearly the titular man's picture in the foreground. Then you can have photographs of abstract objects or scenery for your book, like A Case of Indian Marvels, a story collection edited by David Davidar. Now there is another book, Landscape Photography Handbook by David Johnston, or this cover of the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, showing the pyramids. Now what about other types of photographs or the edited cover designs featuring photorealistic images? See this example, 6 Days in Bombay by Alka Joshi, clearly a photograph with some editing. Or these covers. Now look at this, Preeti Shenoy's Wake Up, Life is Calling. This cover has a specially taken photograph of a theme, It is not just a generic photograph taken off the internet or from a stock photo website. Photos like this are commissioned by the designer, where there is a clear vision of what they want and the studio creates images for that specific vision. And to drive this point home, what better example than the Twilight series by Stephenie Meyer? The iconic hands holding the red apple against a stark black background. A classic example of visual imagery which reels the reader in. Well, of course, it is heavily edited to bring the colors to the right saturation to tell the story, but it is still a photograph. Similarly, the parrot tulip flower of New Moon, edited but a real photo. The red ribbon of Eclipse and the chessboard of Breaking Dawn, all same. Amazing photographs, masterfully edited, and more importantly, to further accentuate this imagery and the stark contrast with the matte black background, the book covers have spot lamination or selective glossy layer over the colored parts. It is a precise, digitally controlled and not to mention expensive process that gives you that eye-catching, almost satin-like feel and finish against a dark black cover. Another example is The Mistress of Spices by Chitra Banerjee. You might think that it is a composite of several images, but take a deeper look. It is just one single photo. Well, to be absolutely honest, there is no way to actually tell or confirm whether it is a composite or a commissioned single photo. There are no behind the scenes for book covers as it is usually for movies, but be that as it may, composite or single, it is definitely a photograph. There are several authors in the fiction genre, especially romance, who like to put photographs of people on their covers for the realistic feel, to make the story hit harder, as readers holding the paperback can see day-to-day people or places featured in the cover of the book they are reading. Take Everything I Never Told You by Ajay Pandey, for example. Everything about this cover screams relatability. A girl, even though you can't see her face, you know she might be someone you might know. And the Taj Mahal in background, well, you are already hooked. I used the same concept for my books. The Fourth Kiss features two real people kissing in the rain, the cover design depicting a scene from the book itself. This cover I got designed from a professional on Fiverr.com. But for the covers of my next book, The Broken Boyfriend, I went the do-it-yourself route, which I will demonstrate later. Moving on to the next one, typography. Well, this is an unusual category and very few books actually have this kind of cover. Think about books like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep. What's there on the cover? Just the text on an orange background. Nothing else needed. Then there is Can We Be Strangers Again by Srijit Shandilya. Just the text on a textured background. The title itself tells you what you need to know to be interested in this book. No illustrations necessary. So the bottom line is, you can have anything on the cover of your book. Whatever you can imagine can be put on the design, pretty much like your book as a whole. But keep your reader in mind. If your book is for kids, then the cover should represent kids, bright colors, bold font, good contrast, funny illustrations or cartoons, etc. Similarly, if you're writing romance, your book cover can have illustrations depicting the main themes of the book. Romantic tragedies may have a darker color palette, somber tones of font and design, while rom-coms can have bright blue, pink or white design language. Bright red, crimson, black or darker colors usually give a suspense thriller vibe. But again, there is no formula that tells you which color to use for which genre. Either use your imagination or let a professional help you. Beware while using the color black though. It is a trend. Everybody wants a black background in their book cover with punchy contrast foreground elements. Don't forget that the cover is, well, the cover of your book. So its design, its tone, its shades should speak the same language as the book. Don't treat your book cover like a YouTube clickbait thumbnail. Don't show anything on your cover which is unrelated to your book or something completely different. Sometimes As an author, you may have a clear idea, clear vision of the cover design that you want to see your book wrapped in, right from the beginning. But sometimes you may finish writing and editing your book and still have no clear vision of what the cover might be. It is a good practice to visit a bookstore, go to the section of the genre that you are writing in and look at covers of dozens of books. It will surely spark an idea in your mind of how you want your book to look like. I've already shown you so many book covers today in this video. It will be a similar stimulus if you see more book covers in a bookstore. Often the main question is not what you want your book cover to be, but how do you go about making it real? Therein comes the story of actually designing your book cover. Now, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, and Notion Press have their own cover generator tools. They have some stock images, some fonts, some specific layouts and all that. If you are okay with that image, well, good for you, you can have the design for free. But if you are one of those authors who want to design a unique cover that speaks about your book, about your personality and not derived from a generic template, well then you have two options. Either do it yourself or pay someone else to do it for you. For those who have some experience with graphic design, you can use the Photoshop, Canva, CorelDRAW or any of the dozens of apps and softwares to design it. Hell, you can even design your book cover on Microsoft PowerPoint. The starting point is already there, right? The dimensions, length, breadth, height and all that. You got that from KDP Cover Calculator. You need to own the license to use whatever photographs, graphics and backgrounds, even the fonts that you want to use on your book cover. For more details on licensing and copyright, don't forget to watch my video on how copyright works. So here I'm going to come back to the cover design of The Broken Boyfriend. For those of you who know the book, it is available in paperback as well as hardbound editions which have different covers. Now let me share the story of my paperback design. So this is the final book cover that you see on the printed paperback. And where did I start? I started at the KDP template. Now you can see that gives me the layout of where my title should be, where my author name should be, where the spine should be and everything. Now this particular cover has so many elements. The background itself was a challenge to make. I mean, the deep reddish textured background that you see on the cover was something I took a long time to finalize, and it will happen to you too. Sometimes you will take weeks and months thinking about a design, thinking about fonts, thinking about the layout, and one day everything will click in its place. So as you can see, I wanted to have the cover design so that it spans the entire width of the cover print, which means from this front cover to the spine to the back cover. Of course, the blurb and the author bio were going to be on the back cover only, including the barcode, ISBN and everything. But the couple kissing in the background of the cover image, that image extends from the front cover to the spine to the back cover. And of course, the coronavirus image is found only on the spine and extending to the back cover. So it is completely up to you how much of a detailed and flowing imagery you want to put on your book cover. There is no right or wrong way of making a book cover as long as you keep it true to the content of your book. Now this could be the end of the discussion if you were making only the ebook cover. If you are going to publish in a paperback, well then no, this is not over yet. What about the final print? Will your book thrive in a glossy cover lamination or a matte one? What else do you need to know and keep in mind after designing the book cover? What must you have a confirmation from your publisher about before entering into the publishing deal? All that and more will come in the third and the last part of this story of cover designs. Now remember, cover is the most important part of your book's presentation. So there are many things that we must discuss, and we have been discussing, and I can't cram and summarize everything in a short video. So until the next episode, you can keep asking your questions on book cover. everything that we discussed and everything you think I may have missed. Let me know. Also share your stories of how you created your book cover or how you are going to do it for a future work of yours. Of course, TLB The Digital City has a team of graphic designers who can create a lovely cover for the book of your dreams. Do check out the catalog of our services on the website www.tlbcity.com. Don't forget to forward this video to anyone who is a reader or an author. Like this video if you liked it, and stay tuned for more content like this. This is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off. Namaskar. Wait, there is an announcement. Have you self-published your fiction novel in any genre in English in the last 5 years? Then send me a copy of your book. I'll use the books that you, my fellow indie authors, send me for market research and analysis of the ground reality of self-publishing in India. Check out the link in that video description to show interest.